All right, I believe we are officially live, so howdy everyone. Got the one, the only, can we call you the Facebook famous Officer Hoover?
I don't know about Facebook famous yet.
We got one heck of a thunderstorm going on here, so if we lose you guys, I apologize, and we'll try to be back at some point. So.
I'll be stuck here entertaining while you're gone.
You may be there, and it's going to be Jack's fault there sometime. At some point, we're going to come back and talk about Jack, because Jack is really Matt Finley, and he needs some major DOT help. But we got videos by Al on here, and he's one of the ones that actually sent us a message on Facebook, I believe it was, and I sent it to you, so I'll let you take it from here.
Okay. Well, his big question was talking about he's basically a shipper. A truck comes in, driver rolls in, and they load his lumber, and they're at the mill. They say, hey, you should load it like this or like this or like this. So real quickly, to answer the question, if there'd be an accident or something, or if something's going on, will it be, whose fault will that fall back on? So what we look at is in 392.9, it talks about, in the title of it, is inspection of cargo securement devices and systems. And it says, does the FHWA have authority to enforce the safe loading requirements against a shipper? So in this case, that'd be videos by Al, that is not the motor carrier. So in this case, he's not the motor carrier, he's just a shipper. It says no, unless hazmat is defined or involved, is the responsibility of the motor carrier and the driver to ensure that any cargo aboard a vehicle is properly loaded and secured. So that more or less answers that. So it'd be like you, Mike, you go somewhere, somebody pays you to load a empty shipping container.
That's ironic.
Yeah, that's ironic, isn't it? That's ironic. But so basically, it's up to you as the motor carrier, as the driver. It's your responsibility. Make sure you get that loaded on there correctly and abide by the federal regulations. And
so long story short, at the end of the day, it comes down to the driver. Once it's on that trailer, it's the driver's responsibility to make sure it's going to stay there.
Exactly. And unfortunately, with guys like the Hammer and everything else, they're going to be looking for anybody and everybody to go after. But, per that, it's typically the shipper, or not the shipper, it's the motor carrier and the driver's responsibility.
All right, man, we got all kinds of people in here. We got a bunch of people coming out and get a chance to say hi to. I see Nuts, Miss Lee, Earthworks. Brandon's still working. Brandon with Lee Earthworks still working. Imagine that. I guess it's not raining where he's at. MSL Logan made it. Louisiana Dirt. Catherine, just wanted to say hey to everybody. Now, Chad sent us another question, something about what was an oversized load on a Traco, wasn't it?
Yeah. Talk about, and I thought you've given me some good, scratching the head and really walking the line. But
I'm just trying
his question was, I've got a Traco and the tracks measure 102.5 inches. Now, the rule is anything wider than 8'6", which when I do pull out my calculator and look, is 102. So anything over 106 or 102, yes, you're going to have to get it permitted. So, and those are the ones we really like stop and measure. And I think another part of his question was, where do you measure at on the track? To the very outside. It's considered loads. You got to measure the widest point.
Oh, so, catch MLH Repair there. He's a pretty good guy up there in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Question about
Let's see.
Interstate DOT. Basically, he runs a single axle service repair truck, I believe is what he's got.
All right. So it says my service truck is intrastate. What is the process that I must take if I have an emergency repair call over the state lines?
You just do it at night or on Sunday.
Hey, I'll let you answer that, and I'll just shake my head and be,
I thought it would be one of the driver answer, the DOT answer. My bad.
Exactly. The DOT answer is, well, if the truck's greater than 10,000, it'll be leaving the state. You got to have interstate operating authority, all that good stuff. You got to have the plates, if the fuel tax. You can get single trip permits and all that. So now the unofficial is call me on Monday and tell me how you did it on Sunday type thing. So
I've never done that.
Oh no, I loved how you're like, hey, we're going to be working in Kentucky. And I was like, well, you don't have apportioned plates, Mike. Oh, well, we were getting around to that. Okay. So, but yeah.
I shot a trucking video today, which these guys probably won't see for about a month. But like, well, I can't say that because I can't be filming and driving. Let's just say most of the videos from inside the truck, except for one, I had my seatbelt on. So I was proud of myself. That's like 99% of the time.
Well, you know what? If you happen to notice, I got my big green book out.
That's not the
and
picture.
Wouldn't you know it? 392.16, and I'm gonna label that the dirt perfect clause. A commercial motor vehicle which has a seatbelt assembly installed at the driver's seat shall not be driven unless driver has properly restrained himself with the seatbelt assembly.
I properly had myself braced against the steering wheel. Does that count?
So, and here's an odd thing. Did you know in the 2019 out of service criteria that they've added if there's not a proper driver's seat, that vehicle's now out of service? now I got some Russian guy calling me.
We're gonna have a phone friend here. See if you can answer.
Hello? What's up?
Put him on speakerphone. Tell him to ask an intelligent question.
Well,
John Warren, I think it's 1.5 inches, but if I can get Hoover's attention here, I'll find out for you real quick. I don't think they check that very often, but there is a spec on that. Jason, you're about 30 minutes west of Bowling Green, so you're about 2.5 hours south of me. Miss Elite's not going to let this truck leak for Jason, works a lot, go very easily. Did you hear the latest of what they found wrong with it? Apparently they forgot to put an antenna in it or something. 530 dresser, I can answer that question. If you go out of state less than 3 times a year, you can apply for a temporary permit. But I think it's once you go over 3 times.
No, it 26,000, and then the GVWR total. Like, so if the truck and trailer GVWR was 26,001, or the actual weight itself was 26,001.
Construction and dirt.
Is he trying to claim that it's that he's for hire or something?
Construction and dirt. We are in Indiana, but most of these are CDVED laws, which cover all federal. There are some state laws that vary.
Yeah.
Maybe just ought to give up on the live chat and have a phone friend.
Everything you're telling me, I agree with you. It's not, but. Yeah.
You cracked me up. Construction and dirt. I hope I answered your question there, but we'll get Hoover back here. We'll get you a better answer. But there is some stuff that varies from state to state, but a lot of the major stuff is federal regulations.
Exactly. You're good.
William Axton, if you got a quad axle, as long as you get your axle weights, you are legal. You do not need permits unless you go over your axle weights. Black smoke, that is a good one. We'll have to ask Hoover.
Well, if he does write any tickets or anything like that, it's like, you got your proof show that it's not. So, but.
Brandon,
all right, good luck. We'll get back to we're doing the live feed with Dirt Perfect. So you're all right, buddy. You're all right.
Imagine that, rushing, interrupting everything.
Oh gosh. All right. All righty. Good luck. Bye. Oh, we had a DOT emergency we had to take care of.
That works a lot.
Yeah.
He's an emergency in himself.
Yeah. That happens when you loan something out, and typically happens whenever your buddy's pulling something and gets stopped and gets in trouble. So, all right. So did I miss a bunch of questions?
Yeah, you missed a few. I think I covered most of them for you. Black Smoke,
Okay.
how long he needs to keep the daily check sheets on file? That's a DOT audit question, not a DOT CVEG question, isn't it?
Yeah, yes, the internal auditors, they take care of that and doing that. But what I believe it is, and don't quote me on this, is 90 days. So, and the thing with the annual inspection, or not the annual inspections, the daily pre-trips, you'll only have to keep those on file if you find something wrong. So say you're doing a pre-trip of your truck, you find that brake lights aren't working. And then you take that, the mechanic comes out, fixes it, fuse, whatever, takes care of that. And then he signs off on that pre-trip form. Then basically the motor carrier would have to keep that on file for 90 days.
For 9 days. Chad was asking, pretty much all state trucks are exempt, or all municipal trucks are exempt from oversize and weight stuff, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
That's why I'm not putting stickers on my dump truck so I can go by his county.
I know, but
you've seen them on.
Yeah.
I've seen them on in the last couple of videos.
Question. Let's see. Here in Florida, GVWR on triaxle 70,000. What is legal weight up there in Indiana? What do you guys run triaxle, quad axle? Basically on that, a triaxle, state of Indiana, max gross weight is going to be 68,000, and a quad axle we're going to give 73,280. It's just kind of a goofy, the grandfather weight on that.
That's
fun to take across state lines. Jason, the fire truck, that's one of those, but that a lot of times, maybe not you, but if the outfit that's going to be doing the maintenance would send a driver, then yes, they would. And a lot of times, fire apparatus, stuff like that, we don't get too worked up looking at. So on that.
Senseless Fabrication had a question up there a while back. His long story short is basically if he has a note from his physician that says he can't wear a seatbelt, is he exempt from seatbelt law?
For the state laws, yes. You would have to have something from the doctor that does your DOT physical, and then that comes back to state by state jurisdiction. So,
hey Brian, SLC Farms, man, how are you guys doing this evening? Hopefully we're getting the rain. Hope this rain don't head your way. Them guys got flooded out. So now, is the going back to the municipal stuff, I'm just curious, is it also exempt on the interstate on federal roads? Because like farmers and loggers lose their gross on federal roads, correct?
Yes, they lose that on the federal highway or federal roads, which are the interstates, but municipalities, especially state of Indiana, state plow trucks, stuff like that, they don't have to worry about it. Yeah.
Now you're talking about weights. A tandem axle is 48,000, right? 34 and 12, unless you got floats on the front.
Yes. When in doubt, always go after the tire weight rating. See what your tire weight rating is to find out what your very max is going to be.
That's what used to always kill me on my that other trailer I had. Chad Allen's got a question there for you for 3/4 ton.
Yeah, let's see. Regulations for small business owner delivering boats and pontoons with 3/4 ton and 1 ton pickups. All right. So Chad, there's a whole bunch of regulations we can get into, but in a nutshell, anything greater than 10,001 pounds across state lines, you're going to need DOT numbers, operating authority, all that good stuff. annual inspections, fire extinguishers, triangles, all that good stuff. And then depending on the size, if you exceed anything from 16,001 to 26, you're going to need a for-hire endorsement, or AKA chauffeurs, depending on what state you're in. And then depending on how big the boat is, if you exceed 26,001, you're going to need a Class A CDL. So hopefully that kind of gets a little bit of what you were needing asked there. So
Man, I've been doing this, we've been doing back and forth. We've been friends for almost 10 years, I guess. And every time I think I got a grip on these regulations, I always learn something new.
Oh yeah. There's days I'll get bored, can't go to sleep, so I'll crack open the book and I'm drooling and falling asleep in 2 seconds. So
SLC Farms has got a farm question for you there.
Farm question? Oh man.
I'll just say exempt and move on to the next one.
I know it. Farmers get away with everything. But let's see. Where'd it go?
He was asking, am I exempt from everything in South Carolina farm tags, semi-truck, and dually truck?
Stay in South Carolina. When you come to Indiana, it's a different story. We got you over 150 air miles, and we'll go from there.
Well, the other thing with farmers is they're not exempt. If they're hauling construction equipment, even if it's a Traco they own, they still got to have oversized load permits, right?
Correct.
An annual, just like anybody else, though, right?
Let's see. Is it 100 or 150 air or route for logbook exemption? The 100 air miles is for a CDL vehicle, and the 150 air miles is for a non-CDL. So if you exceed those distances, you would need a logbook.
Somebody on here, you were on the phone with the Crazy Rush, and I don't remember who it was. I think it may have been Black Smoke. He was asking if you have to have paper backup to electronic log.
Yes. Yep. You got to have paper, at least enough to cover 8 days. And you need like instruction manual, something like that to go along with that. That's part of the requirement.
That's kind of
Jason, it's coming real slow right now.
That's kind of, I didn't realize that. You have to run a paper log with the electronic log?
No, you don't have to run it. You just have to have enough blank sheets in case it goes down.
Oh, so basically if you have a failure or something messes up with the electronic, you got to have enough sheets to cover your butt.
Yep. Elite. How about nonprofit company? I get that all the time. I'm not for profit. I got to put tires and gas, and I'm not making any money.
Chris Temple's got a decent question now. These farmers that pull these big, large spray tanks, they got to have tanker endorsements to transport their water?
No, because the tanker endorsement's on a CDL. So since they're exempt from CDL.
Is this because they're a farmer or because they really don't have to have it?
Well, since they're a farmer, it's their own farm equipment. That's what makes them exempt from the CDLs. I know Elite Earthworks. He showed that picture. He's got that pimped out dump truck in the back, blacked out wheels, chrome center caps. Then you zoom back. He's got greener grass than the football field behind his house.
If I was him, I'd be embarrassed.
I know it. I was embarrassed.
SLC, buddy, we'll catch you later. Be careful pulling your train around South Carolina. Jack?
Yeah, I'm going to have to Google that video.
The
train going around a crop circle or a roundabout.
I can tell you right now, if Jack gets comment, I can't call him Jack. His name's Matt. If he gets non-for-profit status, then I'm right there with him. I've always said for years I'm farming dirt, but nobody believes me. Chad's got another question there for you.
Dirt perfect. Get some cows and sell them.
The problem is, we talked about this with a local farmer here, is if you It's kind of like the race car scenario, right? If you haul your race car to the track and you lose and don't make any money, you can run on farm tags if you're a farmer. But if you take your race car to the track and you win money, then you're basically making money at it, so you're a trucking business, correct? Or did I screw that all up?
Well, I've not seen them. Usually the farm plates are when they got the big pull-in tractors.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Usually
as long as you're not good at what you do, you're fine on farm plates.
Yeah. At the end of the year, if the tax man says your racing career's making you money, or your YouTube channel, But what was Chad's question? You said he had one, but I'm not.
He was wanting to know if you could put if you're hauling cows with farm tags, would you be exempt? Which is where I was going with the. We were talking about that with Bruce. He was wanting to haul him show cows down to Texas, and basically, if he didn't make any money at it, he was fine. But if he made money at it, he may have been in trouble.
Yeah, and it's kind of a farm profit. Like if you go and you buy a bull and a heifer, and then you're bringing them back to start, your own cattle farm. They're part of it. Damon, are you saying 430 seconds? Is that what you mean, buddy?
That'd be tread on a crock or tread on a steer tire, right?
Yeah. And speaking of Crocs, I got my new off-road series in.
The sticker, they're off-road Crocs.
Yeah. Off-road sport clog. Brand new. There's at least 430 seconds good tread on that bad boy. And then it's got these high-speed adjustable Velcro straps. Shoot.
There you go.
I got them off waterweight.com.
We're going to have dirtperfect.com up one of these days.
Hey, that's good. I'm still waiting on my Dirt Perfect package.
It's Dirt Perfect shipping department sucks. I'm working on it.
Well.
Matt's got a good question for you. I think I know the answer for it, but I'll let you have it. Wants to know how long you've been a commercial vehicle enforcement.
I've been with ISP for going on. It'll be 15 years this October, and I'll be in the division 8 years of those 15.
I was one of the first guys you got to pull over and pick on, wasn't I?
Pretty close. Pretty close.
I guess that's an honor.
Yeah. But
I think Kurt's still picking on Jason's truck and want to know how much water he can have in the cab.
That poor guy.
No, I know.
That's terrible.
It's a good thing you bought that new truck so you wouldn't have downtime.
Yeah. Got that extended warranty. What if the rock quarry loads 10 ton of base rock all to the driver's side? Am I overweight on that side? Yeah. That's usually where the
tire weights get you in trouble.
Yeah, exceeding the max tire weight.
David's question.
What would be an example of a 4-inch and a 2-inch strap to be out of service on a flatbed? So
that's a third of the, 1/3 of the distance, isn't it?
It is. I wish we could share pictures on this live feed. That'd be awesome.
You can. If you go over to the side over, you can flop your screen around. You see where it says screen share, that little green arrow?
Oh yeah. I'm scared. I don't know what I'm going to share.
Don't share the long screen. It may be one heck of a live feed. I'm sure you're just asking for a friend, Brandon. I'm sure that didn't happen today.
Did it work?
Yep, you got it up there.
Okay. Oh, sweet. Well, let me try it next. I got to zoom in. All right, so hopefully he can see that. Hopefully he can see that down at the bottom. So anything 3/8 or bigger in a 2-inch, and anything larger than 3/4 inch damage in the side of where'd it go? There it is. Of a strap makes it no good.
Chad, you're asking about why he lost his CDL from a bad tox from migraine medicine. That's kind of out of your department there. That's more on the medical side of stuff than what you do roadside, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of that comes to whatever the doctors will sign off on and won't sign off on.
So basically, you have to go back to your physician, and they're the ones that have the right to override that. That's nothing you guys can do.
Yeah.
It kind of goes back to what Chad ran into with his birth defect there a little bit with his hand.
Yeah, and well, in that case, it was so hard trying to find a doctor that knew what he was talking about, because he knew what we were talking about. I knew in the regs he could go and get a special requirement for it.
Someone that was educated in doing that.
Yeah, and unfortunately, when they did the big crunch and they went from any Joe Bob doctor could do a physical to now you need certain criteria to even sign off. A lot of those doctors that would go ahead and sign off quit doing it. So, and it made it a lot stricter.
Monty's got a good question for you, and I know you know the answer to it. If any other states have DOT Facebook pages, I know the Canadian CVED has one, don't they?
Yeah, I wouldn't say Alberta has one. Iowa's got a pretty good one, but I try to maintain the best one out there. So I got to have something to work with on this. So
what are you getting?
What about driving over a camera for a DOT inspection?
Oh my goodness! Come on, people.
Well, I did slow that down, and I did notice his one brake chamber was a little over, but we talked about that. We talked about that.
That's BS. Almost one and the other. Somebody was picking on me because I didn't have mud flaps on my truck, and that's a lie. I did.
Well, and in your defense, Indiana doesn't have any mud flap requirement. And we're probably going to stir the hornet's nest on that one too.
Yeah. Jason, I got a good friend that's got, I don't know the best way to answer this, but he's basically got one hand. He was born that way. And he does have his CDLs, and he's got what, I don't remember what we called that, but it's basically the physician had to sign a special something.
Yeah, there's a special form that, oh gosh, and I'll think of it, but there's a special form that goes along with that. So if that driver stopped for an inspection, they're going to have that form in possession to show that they've been signed off on that.
Now I want to go back to Chris Temple here for a minute. And if we put a camera down and drove over his truck, we wouldn't see the rest of the truck because it leaked so much oil. By the time we got past the steer axle, that'd be it. It'd be blanked out.
Those are always fun. Yeah, Hot Rod, there's typically a lot of the states will adhere to the federal regs. They'll adhere to the green book here. But where you get some of the differences is they'll have tougher state laws. So a lot of times they'll apply those state laws on that. So hopefully everybody on here's noticed that I'm popping up with a different title, Officer Hoover. I've started a separate Officer Hoover Facebook thing. I'm going to try to, that way everybody knows exactly who I am. So I'm going to try to share just some little informational videos here and there on that, and just some different side things that I mess around and do. So yeah, so if you'd like to go over there and give that a subscribe for me, that'd be cool.
I've got a link to your channel, and whenever this live feed's over, I'll be sure to put that link in the description so you guys can find it. David's got a question for you.
Yeah.
How many trucks do you pull over simply because they're clean and shiny and look easy to inspect? That's why you pull me over every time you see me.
It's not good to lie. Well, I like the shiny trucks, but you know what, Mike? If I had a way to share all the shiny truck pictures with you, I bet I could point out a violation on each and every one of them. So,
Oh, me and you talked about this several times. There's nothing better than finding the guy that just drove the truck off the dealership lot and he's all cocky because there's nothing wrong with it.
oh, I love that. I love that. Pull them in to do a level 1. Hey, bud, we're just going to do a level 1. You ain't going to find crap. This is a brand new truck. And I just look at them, go, challenge accepted. I'll be right back. No better feeling than placing them out of service for something. And not trying to be cocky or arrogant, but it's like, you know, a lot of it is you get out of it what. And have you seen the Have You Made Your Bed video yet, Mike?
Oh, I don't know if I've seen that one.
Okay, well, long story short, this driver's filming an Illinois trooper on a traffic stop. Trooper makes a comment.
Yes,
have you made your bed? Well, and we'll break this down. So, do I agree with the made the bed part? No, because when you look to federal regulations, all it states about bedding is, do you have adequate bedding? So take that for what it's worth. Do you have adequate bedding? Now, if you watch the rest of the video, you notice how that driver proceeds to go on and on and on about it after the troop said, listen, bud, I'll go back, I'll bring up the information, I'll show you what I'm talking about. So that's, you get what you get out of it. You know, you get whatever you put into it, it's how you're going to get out of it. So
me and you have talked about this several times, and every time we do a training together, it's one of the top topics is attitude.
Yeah.
And that goes, you know, that goes both ways, you know, but if you, well, it's just, for example, whenever you stopped me for the first time, you know, I pretty much told you everything was wrong with the truck and was straight up with you and knew you had a job to do. You understood I had a job to do, and I was in the wrong. There ain't no way to deny that.
Well, and it just, and like I said, that's a perfect example. You get out of it what you put into it. So let's see. Yeah, Elite, you got to pay into that drug screen consortium. And if you don't got that, you come in and get audited. That's big fine, big problem. Yeah, this is Elite. I'm glad I went with just Officer Hoover too. Hopefully everybody likes my Roscoe. Do I need a hazmat on my CDL to haul asphalt? No. Liquid stuff, yes, maybe, depending on what it is and what concentration. Kirk asked, if you think something's up with your truck and you voluntarily pull up an inspection bay, do you still get fined? Well, that's hard to answer, Kirk, because if you pull in, you know you got a problem, typically 99% of the inspectors out there, they'll probably write it up. If you're pulling in voluntarily and saying, hey, there's something up, the mechanic, the owner won't fix it. We'll try, vast majority of us will try to work with you. We may not issue a ticket. We may just write it up. So kind of take that as you went there. Hot Rod asks, can oil leaks cause you to give an out of service? No, there's no oil leaks. Now, oil leaks, axle leaks, wheel seal oil leaks, yes, those, if they get on the brakes, can be considered out of service, but a simple engine oil leak, no. Thank you.
To stay on the road.
What's that?
All the Cumminses are allowed to stay on the road as there's not an out of service for oil leaks.
Well, yeah, and I haven't found a diesel. The only diesel motor I found that wasn't leaking oil was out of oil. So
hey, did you not see the under camera shot of my truck? That thing is dry as the bone from one end to the other. Notice I did choose to do that truck, and
yeah, I mean, you were also running 50 miles an hour spreading gravel, so you know. Let's see. One of our cold trucks got checked the other day. He was their first truck of the day. Went under, front clean, came out black at the other end. Said he started off wrong for the day. I disagree. That's a good day. The dirtier I come home, the better day I had. So thank you, Lakeside Ranch. I appreciate you, buddy. It's very nice of you.
Doug's awesome. He comments on every video I put up. He's a really good subscriber. Appreciate it a lot.
Let's see.
Robert wants us to shout out Mike Hawk. I'm not sure who Mike Hawk is, but does he have a YouTube channel or? Hey, Working Life, how you doing, bub?
See, would a motor crane or great all crane carrier chassis required to be registered in Indiana? Those have gone back and forth. A lot of it depends on what administration's in and what they want. And this one you might find interesting, Mikey, is down by you, the crane pumping trucks.
Yeah.
How many of those have license plates on them?
You talking about the concrete pump trucks?
Yeah.
Well, didn't you talking about Edwards Concrete? Tubbs like had a ration on those for a while. She had their number, didn't she?
Yeah. Those are required to have registration plates. There was back in the 2000s, there was an exemption that the Department of Revenue or BMV's put out, but since the new administration's come in and said no, they are required to be registered. So if you ever on a job site and you notice one that doesn't have a plate running around Indiana, you may warn them, hey, you guys may want to get that registered.
Now, isn't there some exemptions for hauling construction equipment though, as far as logbooks and things?
Yes. In the state of Indiana, there are basically construction type related operations are not required to follow the normal hours of service. So then their rest breaks can be a little shorter.
So I just need to make sure I'm always hauling construction equipment. So if I'm hauling a container with construction equipment in it, does that count?
Well, then that jumps up. How's that load securement on that loaded container?
Yeah.
See, this is look how thick this book is.
Oh, and you probably know every page by heart. I'm never gonna.
No, I don't. Look, and this was really boring. This is the state law book. So, how do you pick out what trucks to pull over, Tim? A lot of times, I'll roll the window down and listen to them go by. The ones that I especially like the log trucks to drive by are dragging about 20 foot of strap behind them, and stuff's falling off of them. If you follow the ISPC vid, that was a good stop. What are you stopping me for? Well, you got about 20 feet of 4-inch strap hanging out from behind you there, stud muffin. So
the Miss Elite, can you copy his paste? Oh gosh, I can't talk. Copy the link to his channel and put it in the feed here. I would do that, but I'm afraid I'm going to lose somebody. The best picture you ever sent me was the bulldozer with the tree in it.
I love that one. He goes, I bet I know why you stopped me. And I said, yeah, I bet you do. And he goes, I'm hauling a bulldozer. I was like, no, it's that 12-foot tree you got sticking out of it.
I know you don't have the picture, but to give these guys a little bit of a visual of what was happening, this guy winched a bulldozer. It was a bulldozer, hadn't been run. He winched it up on a trailer, and it had a tree stuck between the blade and the radiator, didn't it?
Well, the stiff arm, on yours that you re-welded the joint, and it had that stiff arm.
Push arm.
So long story short, the guy in the passenger seat owned the dozer and loaned it to a buddy. The buddy took it out and basically blew the motor up in it, or blew something up, and it turned into, well, I'll fix it next month. Well, that was like 6 or 7 years ago, so he finally decided to go and get his dozer back, and there was about an 8-inch tree had grown up between the track and this tree was probably 12 foot tall. And they just said, well, they didn't have a chainsaw or nothing, so they just winched the whole dang thing up on a tandem axle Mack roll-off truck and winched it up on there. And so he had about 12 foot of tree. And I was sitting there, had the window down. It was a pretty day, looked, and I'm like, what the hell is this? And he goes by and he just waved at me, and I waved at him, and got my jaw up off the dash and hit the lights and got that stuff.
Miss Elite found your YouTube channel, and posted a link, and then I copied and posted it. So you guys need to go over and subscribe to Officer Hoover so you can we'll call it continuing your education. How's
yes, continuing ed. Continuing ed.
Keith, I'm glad you made it. Brad, I've tried to have the gravity hold down method. It's never been good. I guess load securement, that's a whole nother conversation, isn't it?
Oh yeah, we could sit here for 4 hours talking about the joys of load securement.
I mean, if you want to hit the highlights on it, so basically hauling equipment, it's all four corners and half the weight of whatever you're hauling, correct?
Yeah, yeah. Let me answer a couple of these real quick, and then we'll. Let's see. Are you ever going to get Wade along the road and video him? If I don't get one of the new Logger Wade sweatshirts, I'm going to have to go down there and get him. But yeah, we've been trying to work on that. David says I drive a shiny 2019 Cdl. I didn't get a ticket, but my washer fluid tank had a crack in it and lost all my washer fluid. There's a perfect example. You're required to have washer fluid and system working. So, but that's one of those deals you come across with a pleasant attitude. Hopefully that inspector will go, hey, just get a new one. I feel bad, you know. I know there isn't a DOT question, but what are some of your hobbies other than reading the DOT handbook? Oh gosh, well, let's see.
You got to plug your DOT Bear Woodworking.
I know. That little sign there behind Mikey, I do some DOT Bear woodworking.
Yeah, check that out. Officer Hoover made that thing is awesome.
Thanks. And look, I did it and kept all my fingers.
You also got one of your projects was building your fancy scale box for your truck so you can weigh everybody.
Yeah, and I got a guy, he wants me to build him another one, so I have another one of those coming up. Oh gosh, I got that Freightliner cab over sitting behind the house collecting dust. I need to do something with that. And then got a little side project me and Mikey's talked about I want to work on, but
yeah, that
was a lot of things that are keeping me occupied.
Have to be our top secret project or your top secret.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys. And thank you, Mrs. Elite, for getting that link. See you later, MLH. Hopefully you have a better day tomorrow. Will these small business owner operators have to have the SAT tracking in the future? They are pushing for commercial fishing. A lot of that is just dependent on what they. Thank you, Mini Digging. See you later, SOT. Appreciate that project you're working on for me. That's
I think he's saying bye to MLH there. I think MLH is heading out.
Oh, okay. See, I'm all new to this. I'm not cool like you guys.
You're fine.
Yeah, there was Brad Smith. Wade and Mikey here were my phone of friends for going and picking that up. But it did get Mike to buy some new chains, so.
But I still use them. We went to Missouri. We took off at like, I don't know what, probably 4 in the morning. And me and Wade were thinking we had like a free hall pass this whole time because Officer Hoover was following us. We get coming back through Illinois, and Hoover goes, I really hope that Illinois scale house ain't open. I'm like, what? You're worried about this? I'm panicking now.
Yeah.
We made it. That was like, what was that? Like 1,400 miles round trip we did that day?
I think so. I'm going to mess with the screen a minute. Since we got this screen share, I want to see if I got access to something. So if anybody's watching, if you could give me just a second, I promise I'm going to try to get this figured out. Can you see me clicking through the file?
Yeah.
Oh, you can? You can see me looking at
well, I'm up there with you, but I can see what you got going on there. Yeah, I need to get a link to that video. That was a 2-part video Wade did when we went over to get that truck, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Um,
Let's see. Can you see this, Mike?
yep, you got it.
A bunch of pictures?
Yep.
Okay. Outstanding. Outstanding.
Hey, Mitch, good deal. Number 16. I do have the honor of being Officer Hoover's first sub. So I'm official.
Yep.
One. That's cool.
So,
Number 16. I'm not taking that away from you, I promise.
all right. So can you see this, Mike?
Yep.
All right.
Chain.
So what we got here is a chain that's been dragging. And what they've done, they used an improper link. That's not an approved link. And you can see how that chain's wore down. This is one I've tried to get the feds to make changes to, is just putting a bolt through the hook like that. Just because that bolt, I'd love to see them do some studies on that, just see. There's just an example of a bad day.
Woo, boy.
So here's a roll-off container. And you can see the out of service is the fact that he does not have this strap in place or a locking mechanism up there. You clumsy dog. Dog tripped over the cords, about ripped all the computers off the table. Here's chain gauge that we use out in the field. If you guys like it, it's Brake Tech Tools. They got a lot of awesome equipment that I buy. But you can see here a 5/16 chain is worn past the 20%. So that's just real quick. Kind of jump through these. You can see how these links are all bent, twisted. Anytime you got bent, twisted links in a load securement, it makes it no good. Here you can see the strap is missing, nothing holding the rear that can roll off. A few years ago, this piece of equipment here, the operator loaded it up on the tail, made it taller than 13.6, and it struck the bottom of a bridge. You can see that hydraulic ram there is bent where it impacted this bridge here along the interstate.
I know some may have hit an overpass the other day, but I'm not going to mention names. Hey, there's the old car.
Yeah, old Betty. Old Betty. Here's a young kid. He was starting out and bought him all new chains and binders. And
oh, I guess he was going crazy with those chains, wasn't he?
But he walked away with clean inspection. That's all that matters.
Good for him. Good for him.
Yeah. So here's a good example. We'll talk about, you were talking about working load limit. So the working load limit on here, this binder here going up to the tracks and to the side rail. The CVSA Commercial Vehicle Safety Alliance has dubbed that this is acceptable, and this counts for 50%. So if this is a 13,000 pound binder, it gets automatically half. And then this binder and chain, since it attaches to one side there and it doesn't go down, it comes across, it still gets half. So we got half, 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 and half. So if that makes sense to everybody. Here's some no-nos. So see what they've done. Large equipment, you got to have 4 separate corners. So what he's done, he's made it look pretty when he drives by, but I sniffed him out. I got him. So you can see he just hooked the one chain in and then brought that other chain up. So this is an example of what not to do. This was just a big, huge piece of scrap that was coming out of a power plant they were decommissioning.
Hey, stop you here for just a second. Can you see Keith's question? He actually emailed that to me, and I forgot to send that one to you.
Okay. Yeah, what is it?
He's wanting to know if, let me make sure I get this right. I can't even speak that word. Farmers versus architect. I can't speak. Oh, well, I'm trying to say how to say this. So basically, farmers going through weight stations, are they still got their 10%, right?
Typically, if it's a weigh station on interstate, no. If they're on an interstate highway, they lose their 10%.
So it's agricultural weights versus weight station stop. So basically that reverts back to if they're on federal highways, they no longer get their gross or no longer get their what do you call it, their excess or.
Correct.
Chad posted the link to our video on Wade's channel going to get Franny. So if anybody wants to see that, they can look it up.
Oh, sweet. Barry, yes, I am a trooper. That I'm full DOT certified. So basically, I'm just a truck trooper. And we here in the state of Indiana, we do have our civilian motor carrier inspectors. So on this one here, real quick, his load securement was all great, but he was still out of service because this block had come loose. So it was considered loose dunnage.
Now, Chad's got a good question, and I asked this question too. On that haul truck picture you had, if you had two separate chains that went around that same pin, that would still count as your four corners, right? They just got to be separate chains.
Yeah, because they have deemed that those pins are sturdy enough to do that. So we would look at that and accept that more than just hooking like that. How that was done.
Still not 100% ideal, but it's still working as the only option you had.
Exactly. But so like this situation here, taking the chain up through the pin and back down, that would not be acceptable. You have to have separate. And on a dozer like this, you've got to have some sort of securement here to represent a corner there, and then any accessory equipment like the blade has to be secured independently. I know that's a little bit frustrating because you guys, as well as I do, know that that being tied down, that's the blade's not going to go anywhere, but it's just easier to abide by those regulations and know you're good than to nitpick over the small things.
That's also something you can see whenever we drive by you on the side of the roads where those chains are at, and that could be a decision maker on whether or not you stop a truck as well, correct?
Correct.
Now, the other thing is with articulated equipment like a skidder or a loader, it has to be chained in the center section or pinned, correct?
Yes. Yep. You can either use the locking pin or additional chains. Typically, guys will use additional chains depending on how heavy the equipment is. They may need those additional chains to cover the working load limit.
That one picture of that scrap you had there was a good one of what we were talking about earlier.
Exactly. Can you see the haul truck now?
Yep.
Okay, so like here's an example. Another guy tried to be sneaky and make it look like two separate, but you can see it's still the one, still the violation. But what you were talking about, yeah, if they can get both chains up and go off the pins. I did contact Caterpillar, one of their McAllister dealers, and said, hey, here's who I am. How do you want these guys to do it? Because I'm seeing this and this and this, and they suggested going around the axles. I think Volvos, which Let's Dig would like that, which if he's got that Volvo, maybe we can get him to share a couple pictures of the rear end. But I'm wanting to say like Volvos or something have actual securement. Let's see. Todd asked, are officers exempt from holding the proper CDL license and health card to perform state inspections? Just curious because our state law makes it a law that a actual mechanic's shop must hold the license drive when he is inspecting. Yes, officers, we just go to a federal certification. Since we're not driving the truck, we're not required to have a CDL or medical. And yes, mechanics, they are required because they road test the vehicles. And since their job and the way they make money would be working and driving on the trucks, that's why they would have to. I just merely went out and got mine just so I could have that better understanding of what you guys do. And then again, I can kind of hold that to the iron to the fire and say, hey, you know, I know exactly what you guys are supposed to be doing each and every time. So.
Well, I'm sure you've learned a few things or seen a few things being on the other side of it, driving a truck. It helps you better with your day job.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So here real quick, hopefully you can see the excavator with the cross chains. We got cross chains. So this chain here is on the driver's side going up the passenger side of the equipment. So it's Clive, if you knock this computer down, buddy. So these chains here are 50%, and the one that goes up, over, and through, well, where'd it go? There it is. Up, over, and through, it gets 100% because it attaches to one side, goes up, over, and through, and attaches down to the other side.
That doing this load securement stuff for a long time, and it still confuses me. I got the gist of it, but just like with those containers today, you never know what's right or wrong.
No. See anything wrong with this one, Mikey?
My goodness, that's like spaghetti junction with chains.
I know it took me 10 minutes just to figure out which one was going where.
Is it chained to the track?
Yeah, he had one chained to a track and one somewhere else and one somewhere else. I'll be right back. I gotta let the pooch out. I'll let you guys look at this one real quick and tell me how many things you guys see wrong.
I think the front tires of the bus are sitting on top of the drive tires on the or the front rear tires on the bus. Holy cow. It's crazy.
Yeah, so if you looked at it, the power unit had a New York farm plate on it.
Well, so he's exempt from everything.
Well, let's look. Is he hauling any agricultural commodities? Negative.
It depends on what they're growing in the bus.
Yeah. Well, if the bus was coming from Colorado, I would have been a little more concerned. But he's got the typical dirt perfect oversized signage, broken apart and separated.
That goes back to me being dirt cheap.
Yeah, dirt cheap, exactly.
Chad said that's Jason Worksquad's bus.
The short bus, yeah. So he didn't have proper tail lights, no lights work, load securement. Then I felt bad for him. He's like, I'm going to offload this one truck like 5 miles from here. I said, where at? And he's told me the name, and I said, perfect, I know that guy. He won't mind if I stop in.
Todd's got back to questions on load securement. So if a chain goes from one side to the other, it gets 100%, but it don't count as your four-corner chain. So you still got to have your four corners, and then if you throw one over the middle, then you get your 100%, correct?
Correct.
Whoa,
Yep.
Fanatic, how you, buddy? Yeah, that, of course, I know a good example of that is if you had like a loader on, you chain the four corners, then you throw one up over the center section, that one's going to get 100%. Your four corners are going to get 50%.
Yep. So if you go over an axle on one corner of a piece of equipment, you get 100%. of tie down. What do you mean, Gabe? Like going over, like going like over it and coming back down, maybe?
So on those containers I hauled today, could I have thrown 2 chains all the way up and over them? Would that have counted?
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
though they're over, what is it, over so many feet long?
Yeah, because at that point in time, you've loaded something that's commodity specific. So when it's commodity specific, we've got to go to that. So
Yeah, Keith said you guys need to start selling chains at the weight station. You'll make a killing.
well, I know chains, tires, brakes, CDLs out of Cracker Jack boxes, you name it, we could make a killing.
Some of these guys that have repair shops just down the road from the weight station, that's not by coincidence.
No, no. And we've had a few, our one Terre Haute scales is missing its open close sign, and we've had a couple shops call, ask if everything was okay. They haven't had any phone calls lately. Heck, one guy I think offered to buy us a new sign, just put himself back in business. So real quick here on these concrete blocks, see how there's this big space in between them? That's a violation. Anytime you're hauling something like this, you got to have them together, or some sort of material like wood or cribbing, something in between them to prevent them from sliding together. So he was out of service on that. He was out of service for not having enough straps, because these blocks, you say what, are about 4,400 pounds a piece?
Depends on how many I got on the trailer, how much they weigh.
Oh, well, there you go. So let's just say they're greater than 1,100 pounds.
No, they vary. They're anywhere from 34 to 4, somewhere in there.
So anytime you got anything greater than 1,100 pounds, you've got to have more than one strap on it. You can see here the concrete corners, there was no edge protection. So that's another violation. Damaged straps on that.
Kirk's got a question for you, and
there we go.
I believe the answer is yes. If you're hauling a specific piece of equipment repeatedly, I guess an example of this is like these guys around here that haul the Toyota frames. I mean, you can modify your trailer to accept that and tie down it properly, can't you?
No. Every form of cargo securement has to be adjustable. So like what I'm pretty sure what he's asking is, could you use like a locking point? No. What I've seen was a guy had basically made like a 2-foot piece of chain, and he would hook it on to both sides of the tracks, and he'd pull his dozer forward and then use binders on the front. So he had 2 pieces of chain. Those were violations because those chains would have to have some sort of adjustable securement that he could tighten down independently. So yeah, even if you do a fixed piece of equipment on the same trailer, you would not be allowed to weld and create a locking.
Well, what about container trailers? Don't they have locking pins where they sit on there?
Those are commodity specific.
Okay.
And they've got their own regulation. Now if he got the regulation changed to where he could show and did all the engineering and stuff to where you could basically load that piece of equipment, lock it in, and show that everything's secured and get it in writing, then yeah. But can you use 1 chain and 2 binders at corners? Yeah, Douglas. As long as you, so like looking at this picture here, if you can see the picture, say you had a 20-foot piece of chain and you used 4 foot over here, used a binder, and then had the extra between the tracks, and then use the other end, yes, you could do that.
Todd's got a question for you. If you go to a quarry or get a weight ticket, will you count that roadside, or will you weigh the truck anyways?
Typically, we will weigh the truck. We're going to compare the gross, but what they're not giving you is your axle weights.
Right.
And that's what we're going to really be checking is the axle weights of the vehicle. What is your take on bungee cords holding dunnage under a flatbed? If the bungee cords aren't damaged, yeah, they can do that. How about securing a lawnmower on a trailer? What's the right way? Make sure whatever you're using to secure that lawnmower is good and tight, and the lawnmower is not going to come off.
Now, if it's under 10,000 pounds, you don't have to have the four corners, correct?
Correct. So like your mini, what's your little mini track hoe weigh?
9,999.
That figures.
Oh, it's
yeah.
Hey, there's the tree. I seen it.
Oh, there it is. I knew I had it. Hold on, I'll be right back. I got a German Shepherd one back there. Come on, baby.
So if you guys weren't on here earlier, this is the tree we were talking about, where he stopped this guy going down the road and still had a tree stuck in the bulldozer. He's got to come back so he can talk. That's an awesome picture.
Yep. So this is the tree. So
he's got good load securement.
Yeah, his load securement was spot on. Load securement was good. He just was too tall. But he said when he's going down the road at 60 miles an hour, the tree just bends over and he's under 13.6. So
now, he does have a valid point. He's just got to keep it above 45.
Exactly.
Back to I think it was Doug's question on the weight tickets, and you hit on it. Your gross may have been right, but that don't mean your axle weights are right, which is what you can get them on, correct?
Correct. Let's see. Al asked, pickups and rated towing. How does that work with enforcement? Just shopping for trucks takes like 5 pieces of data about the truck and a spreadsheet to figure out rated towing. Big thing is, yeah, looking at the door, looking at GVWR, seeing what's going on. Yeah, he does, Todd. He goes quick, but so this guy, was it you, Dirt Perfect?
That one was not me.
No, the truck's the wrong color.
Yeah, I'm innocent on that one.
Here we got a Logger Wade special. I think I remember sending Logger Wade this one and going, "Hey, thinking about you today, buddy."
Logger Wade's got some good DOT stories.
Hey, here's a good here's a Dirt Perfect.
Now, what you can't see in that picture is what I had to go through to get it in that driveway.
Well, yeah, I was proud of you for backing up for 3/4 of a mile.
Yeah, so to give everybody a little bit of a backstory here, me and Officer Hoover's dad went to Chicago, picked up his man lift. We come back, we spent the night at Hoover's house, and I backed almost a mile down the road into his driveway, and Officer Hoover's like, "We just could have come in the other way." I'm like, "Well, that would have been useful information an hour ago."
Well, the old man, he knew that.
I know, and
he knew that.
I couldn't keep him to get his head out of the window, out of the mirror.
I know, exactly. But
John's got an out of service question for you there.
Oh, okay. What law read on rubber bushings for out of service?
If they're there, they're good, right?
Basically, if they're still there, you're good. If whatever component is basically can be moved by hand and there's metal on metal contact, then no, it's an out of service. So like here was an example. Can you use, so like this only counts as one. You can see he's got the one chain coming up, looping through the eyelets, coming back down and secured. That would only count as one. So he had to break those apart and make it two.
Yeah, Don, if you're under 10,000 pounds, you can get away with 3 straps. That's my take on it. He's the expert on the other end of this.
I have my 3,000-pound tractor on a 3/4 ton truck, 7th trailer. Can I use 3 straps, 3,000-pound rate? Basically, on that tractor, if you got one in the front and one on the rear, you're good. Let's see. On a pickup, do you go by axle ratings or GVWR? We go by the GVWR hot rod, and then when it comes to weight, we go by tire rating on that.
Pretty much everything goes back to axle and tires, correct?
What's that?
I said pretty much everything goes back to axles or tire weights.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see, SOT metalwork. So no construction equipment can be hauled with farm tags. Well, no. On that SOT, what that is, basically, they can haul the farm equipment like that, but if it's those construction type vehicles, here in the state of Indiana, they're still required to get oversized permits. Now, if he's hauling his big John Deere farm tractor or his combine, something like that, that's a farm equipment, but not the actual construction equipment. She's just sitting back there covered up right now. So
he can haul.
I'm sorry to hear he passed away. New from Civic Center, went home with him. Oh, man. Rod that is a little bit out of rot on it, but you can't move it by hand or any metal contact. Yeah, John, if you find my email below or whatever, buddy, or go to the ISP CVED, send me a message if you got any pictures. Maybe better to look at that.
I didn't link your Facebook page to this live feed because I didn't know what if that was kosher or not, but I can post a link to it afterwards in the description.
Just post my Gmail.
Gmail account?
Email.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can do that.
So let's see. I'm trying to think if I got any more goody pictures, so I don't want to bore you guys with
I'm just so glad all those pictures you had, only one of them was mine, and it was a good one.
Well, I was looking for that one really good one you sent me that time.
You talking about the bulldozer one?
You said, "How did I do?" And I'm like, "Oh boy, haven't left yet, have you?" And you're like, "Yeah."
I think I may have sent you around. I've come a long ways over the years.
Yes, you have. So, pop quiz, Mike.
Yep, I'm ready.
These steel beams here.
Mm-hmm.
Is he missing anything?
Yep, they're not in contact with the headache rack, so he's got to have 2 straps in the first 6 feet, and then he's got to have 1 strap every 10 feet after that.
Yep, he's got to have 2 in the first 10. There you go. Good job.
Thank you. See, I pay attention every once in a while.
Yes, you do.
Jason, yeah, Hoover's got a few weights over the years, but it's how we kind of you and Wade got a good relationship. It was kind of hard to get you guys together, but it's been good over the years now.
Yeah, he was scared of me, about like a meth head and going to the dentist. He didn't want to get yeah. And it might have been too that I wrote his mom that ticket that time when I was just a regular troop. I new to the area and didn't know anybody, and she.
Well, I don't think your dad helped your case either, because I think he was pretty rough on him from time to time.
Could have been. But the time that she was talking about it, she goes, "I think that was your old man." And I was just kind of like, yeah, it was him. It was him.
Of course it was.
But I was like, I got to thinking about it, and I was like, ooh, that was me.
Top Notch has got a good question there for you.
Oh, okay. So if I have a farm tractor with duals on it, and I'm taking it to a job site, would I need over with permits? Well, Top Notch.
Can I answer that?
Yeah, go ahead.
So the answer is no, as long as you have your wording right when the officer answers the question.
Well, problem is with the registration, everything coming back to an excavating outfit and not a farming outfit, it's probably going
to. He's got to have farm tackle on the truck for that answer to work. If you don't have farm tackle,
yeah, and exactly.
He's screwed.
No, I don't think I still have that one, John. See, how many chains have to be on one of those 50,000-pound rolls of steel? Basically, they've got their own criteria, so they got to have bare minimum of 3 and then 1 strap over. So that kind of takes that into play. When I'm hauling a road widener and need to put an extra flag when my box is, what is the best method for attaching a flag on a piece that's sticking out? Chad, a lot of times I've seen where guys will use those big magnets. If that'll work for you, buddy. I've seen magnets.
Some of those magnets, they work really good. They also work good for camera mounts, if you're into YouTube.
Todd, you've always wondered about logs with heavy bunks need 3 chains strapped per tier. Actually, it's not that many. Technically, they could get away with 1 per section, depending on how they're loaded. So, what's triaxle dump truck legal for in Indiana? 68,000 for a triaxle. Straps versus chains. What visually looks better? Likely to pass, assuming all are perfect. Heath, a lot of it depends on what you're hauling, buddy.
You'll have to flip back over so they can see you there, Hoover.
No, I'm better just leaving it here, my ugly face. But like here's a good example for that chain versus straps. So like in this case here, chains wouldn't be very good. So it's just a lot of it's load dependent. Officer Hoover have a say about Dirt Perfect putting up videos about spraying turkey shit the day I got new computer watching on a 30 monitor in HD. I stay away from that turkey shit. That's one of the things you do with the rookie. You take him out on a good warm day and you stop the turkey shit truck and say, "Here, crawl this one," for the garbage truck. That's usually.
I think I was I'm pretty legal almost every day, but that day I think I was 100% legal. That's some nasty, nasty smelling stuff. Holy cow, that stuff stinks. Hey, Miss SOT Metalworks made it. How are you?
Hey, Miss SOT, you need to get a hold of me because I got a hold of your partner in crime there, and he vetoed everything I sent him for woodworking projects. So I'm just going to pass torch to you. If you've got some ideas, please send them my way. He's working on a heck of a project for me, and I'd love to get some good ideas from you guys.
Dirt Mover, where are you located at? You're over in Ohio somewhere, aren't you?
Told me 15 ton on mine. That's only 15 ton.
Tim,
Well, let me tell you how, Tim.
Oh, God.
There was this one story of, this bulldozer is going to pull it across the farm field. And then all of a sudden there was these Facebook posts, "Hey, look what we did."
And that was the second time I ever met you, because the first time I met you, you pulled me over on the side of the road. And the second time I met you is whenever you come to the shop to look over my truck, and you were asking how I was going to move that cabin.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. You've enjoyed the cabin before.
Oh, yes.
Is that an excavator behind a bus?
Yes, it is.
Is that legal?
I don't know. Somebody sent that to me. Somebody said it was a bunch of people from the southern border taking it back.
Oh, busload of them, huh? Holy cow. That may be one of the more interesting pictures I've seen in a while, to be honest with you.
Well, it wasn't a bus load of them, but supposedly the driver was up there collecting miscellaneous picked up equipment that winch position in conjunction to your tires. David, as long as they don't impact the tires in any way, you're good to go, buddy.
Isn't
Hey,
there
Bonnie,
also,
pleasure having you aboard. Thank you for your time.
yeah, we'll catch you later, Monty. There's also a spec, the distance between a pair of duals, isn't there?
Yeah, before that, those duals are considered before they're considered a spread axle. It's like 96 inches or something.
Todd, where are you located at, buddy? That's quite the load there.
Push a truck and everything.
Where was that at?
It was coming down. It was coming down 63 one day.
Really? Did you check permits?
No, if the video had played longer,
Rhode
I'm
Island.
trying to get off his screen share. It won't let me.
Oh, there
There we go. There's my ugly mug.
You're back.
Come here, puppy. Come here. Say hello.
Did you see where Todd said in Rhode Island they can be up to 100 and almost 105,000?
On what? Come here.
10 wheeler with heavy axles.
Oh, really? Huh. Hey, don't bite me. Don't bite me. Come up here.
That's crazy.
Come here. Come here. I know. Right there you go. There you go. Say hi. Say hi. Say hi. Yeah. You my buddy. Oh, you're gonna bite my thumb. I see how you are.
Jason says you got a good looking KW on your wallpaper there.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's what I need to get the. There's the comments. There we go.
Yeah. Ohio, I haven't done a lot of trucking in Ohio, and most of the trucking I have done in Ohio has been on Sunday. But I know they're pretty particular with their axle weights over there.
Yeah. Yeah, they're pretty tough across that border.
Well, you work on the Illinois border, but I mean there is some differences between us and Illinois, but it's pretty similar. Was it triaxle or the biggest difference?
They don't honor tag axles like we do.
So basically, Indiana trucks got to watch going over into Illinois.
Yeah, they'll get popped left and right, and then but then I like popping their short little dump trailers because they'll come over the line with them short dump trailers wanting to haul 80,000.
Oh, they
It's
don't.
like no, we gotta we them up, and if they're over a certain amount or if they're under a certain amount, they max out at 73,280, so they can't get the full 80,000.
That's where I'm at with my little short dump trailer I got, 72,000.
Everybody sees you munching on my arm. Everybody sees you munching on my arm. No.
Perry, that's very true. I disagree with you there a little bit though. I've seen a lot of equipment slide off trailers, and that equipment is expensive, and insurance companies don't like to pay for that.
Yeah.
Well, me and you've talked a bunch of times about that girl who got hit just down the road here, where she was texting and driving, hit a truck in the other lane, and the tractor fell off the truck, landed on her car, and that guy got sued because he didn't have improper load securement. I didn't care if she was texting and driving; she just had improper load securement.
Was that the same guy you remember that time on the interstate? I had that jalopy rollback trying to pull a car out of the ditch.
No, I remember that guy. Is a different guy.
Okay.
That was
Yeah.
with my old Gumby truck.
Yeah, I think that was the third time we met because he goes, well, here comes another wrecker. And I got to looking, I'm like, no, that's not a wrecker, but I know him.
Well, I was
And
coming home.
I was just like, Mike, would you just, because he had backed down in that soft median and he got his piece of junk stuck. And I'm like, would you just pull him out of the ditch so we can get off this thing interstate?
I was rolling up through there, minding my own business, thinking I'm gonna sneak on by through here, and I get up there, and I didn't realize it was you. And you're sitting there waving me over, and I'm like, "What the hell did I do?"
I'm just like, just pull him out of the ditch so we can all get out of here. It would have been probably one of those situations. I would have been like, "Here, I'll hold your beer while you." And no, it's just water.
Yeah, that was a nasty day too, man. It was raining.
No chewing on power cords. No chewing on power cords. No chewing on power cords.
Yeah, what's Todd's got a question there. What's the Indiana law? Is it over 13.4 you got to be escorted, or 12.4? Because an annual permit goes up to 12.4, right?
Yeah, anything over that, you got to have an escort.
Good thing my Dozer is like 12 foot 3 3/4.
With or without the mud caked on the.
You got to knock the mud off to make it legal.
Exactly. Then that extra mud and dirt on there.
Yeah, 10 famous last words, hold my beer. That's what a couple people kept saying about my clearing the debris off the boat dock down there.
Yeah.
I forgot who commented. They said that was a hold my beer moment. Our boat dock's taking a killing this year.
Well, like what you were saying, the river usually every spring will come up once and then drop.
Well, it'll come up and down, but usually the difference is last year and a half is it comes up and stays up.
Yeah, and then you get a lot more of that crap hitting it.
Yeah, it's a mess. So, Chad's got a question there for you. I'm not sure how to answer that one.
How can guys that run over the road and then go and put on portable wrecker on the back and be in the wrecker service and get away with it? A lot of it's just they haven't got caught yet, Chad. I get that a lot. Like anytime I post something about like amber running lights on the rear, I get like 10 people want to, well, why aren't you out stopping them jack legs with the high beam LED light bars? Well, one, we stop them when we see them. Two, I'm personally not working at night. And three, there's, if there was 100 million of DOT run around, you guys would be griping about that. So. But no, if you see something like that, just call in and report it, and we'll try to do what we can with getting them.
I did not do any grinding on the blade. My 850 John Deere was bought by design. It pretty much pushes the limits and everything I can haul. So, well, guys, I think we're probably getting ready to wrap this up for this evening. I just want to say thanks for having Officer Hoover on here with us. It was awesome, great information. We may have to try to do this again sometime.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. I've had fun, and like I said, guys, if you have any questions, I'm going to have Mike post my email address in the link.
Yep.
Feel free to hit me up.
Yeah,
like I said, I'm
gonna post a link to your channel one last time. So if anybody wants to go over there and subscribe to you, they can do that too, because I'm sure there's gonna be some good information come up there at some point too. So
yeah, and
thanks everybody for coming and joining us. I'll post your email link in the description, and maybe we'll try to do this again sometime. So
yep, appreciate you guys.
Have a good night. Thanks.